Hello, I'm Charles Samikian, or Chuck Samikian, and I am auditioning for Fred Pryor training. The class I've chosen to use is called Human Resources for anyone with newly HR assigned responsibilities. All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to our class today with Pryor training. Today's class is Human Resources for anyone with newly assigned responsibilities. This is a crash course covering key issues, basic laws, and best practices. All right, so maybe you're here for whatever reason. Maybe there's 3 different camps of folks here. Maybe at some point your boss or the owner of your company said, hey, I need someone to do human resources for me. So he tapped you. And you're sitting there thinking, I'm the admin assistant, I'm a project manager, I'm the controller, I'm the CFO, I'm not an HR person. So you both decided to come to this class. That's a great decision. Maybe you're in the camp where you've been doing some HR things for the last couple of weeks or a couple of months, and you decided you needed to start educating yourself, becoming more formal with the aspects of human resources. You've heard some of these things, maybe you've read some things, but you needed to come in and get a formal class. This is a great decision. Or maybe you've been doing this for a little while longer. You've educated yourself to the point that you think you're doing pretty good, but you're not sure. You really want to bat some ideas, you want to formalize your learning, or you just want to reinforce some of your learning. Once again, a great decision to come to class today. So let's talk about what we're going to learn. By the end of the session today, we are going to provide, and you will have, an HR overview of the FLSA, EEO, ADA, and more. And you're probably thinking, whoa, what the heck is that? Fasten your seatbelts, because we're also going to talk about benefit essentials and the basics of workers' compensation. We're going to talk about FMLA, and we're going to talk about COBRA. Once again, some of you may be sitting here thinking, what are those terms? What do those mean? Well, we're going to go over that today. We're going to go over Record Keeping 101. Record keeping, what to keep, how long to keep it, and what to toss, and almost as important, who has access to employee records. Very important, folks. We're going to go over that. We're going to go over best practices to establish the employee's confidence and respect. You're going to be in a human resources position. People are going to come to you. They're going to tell you things that they may not have told anyone else. What do you do with that information? How do you handle it? How do you maintain that confidence? We're going to look at strategies for employee coaching and counseling, and critical need to know legal information about hiring and firing. Legal information. That is so important. That is a part of human resources, and the hiring and the terminating, if done properly, no problems. If done improperly, all kind of problems. And we're going to discuss that today. So let's talk about the alphabet soup of federal rules and regulations. FLSA. Does anyone here know what FSLA means? All right, great. Exactly. The Fair Labor Standards Act. That's the granddaddy of all laws. That established a number of things. We're going to talk about that today. But that's from in the 30s. That established what we do today, the framework for a lot of our workplace laws. EEO. What is EEO? You've heard that before. Equal Employment Opportunity Act. Okay? How about OSHA? Has anyone heard of OSHA? You probably have. The Occupational Safety Health Administration. FMLA. What's FMLA? Family Medical Leave Act. And here's two. ADA. Who knows what ADA stands for? Exactly. The Americans with Disabilities Act. And finally, you have HIPAA. Does anyone here have any idea? And don't worry if you don't, because I'm telling you, this is one that most people don't know. But HIPAA, does anyone know what that stands for? All right, exactly. The Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act. Very good. You're a star student, aren't you? All right. HIPAA governs the privacy laws when it comes to medical and benefit records. And we're going to talk about that today. So one of the key aspects of today's class is safe hiring and firing practices, critical legal issues for all HR professionals. We're going to take a look at legal hiring practices, what you can ask, what you shouldn't ask, and the interviews and why. Okay? We're going to take a look at essentials for coaching and counseling and disciplining new employees. Now, some of you may have different aspects of what you're going to be doing in human resources. But if you're going to be going full in, you're going to be asked to possibly serve as a resource for coaching, counseling. Managers are going to start coming to you and say, I have this situation with an employee. What do I do? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And then, very important, any guidelines for terminating employees. Sometimes you have to say goodbye. And there's a right way to do it, and there's a wrong way to do it. And we're going to talk about that today. There is administrative compliance. Human resources is a lot of filing, and there's a lot of administrative stuff. So we're going to be talking about things. Oh, look, more soup, please. How about FMLA and COBRA? Does anyone know what COBRA is? Okay, great. Yes, it governs whether or not you can keep your benefits when you leave a company. But what does COBRA stand for? That's the money question. Anyone have any idea? Okay, then I'll tell you. Believe it or not, COBRA stands for the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act. That's a mouthful, but we just call it COBRA. It's a lot easier, a lot simpler. Everyone here knows what COBRA is. Great. We're going to talk about the differences between exempt and non-exempt classifications. So exempt means exempt from overtime. Those are typically your salaried employees, okay? Some of you may be on salary, some of you may be hourly. If you are hourly, that is considered non-exempt. And it's important, if you're going to function as the HR resource, to understand the differences between the two. We're going to talk about the types of signage you need to display in your business and why. All right, there are a lot of legal signs. Perhaps you've been to a break room in your office and you saw giant posters. And thinking, why are they putting these posters up? Shouldn't they be putting pictures or a giant screen TV? Well, possibly, but there's a reason that we have those posters, and we're going to talk about that. HR and human resources is record keeping. We're going to talk about employee records. The employee records that you need to have access to and why. Employees' files. Filing is it's a huge part of the job. And you're thinking, well, I don't file. I'm an HR professional. Well, guess what? That is the one skill that every HR person needs to have, and it is filing. How about confidentiality in the HR function? The best practices of human resources professionals. Let me tell you what the best practice is. Confidentiality. You are going to have people come to you and they are going to tell you things. You are going to learn about different medical situations. You are going to fill your head with all kind of situations that employees are going to bring to you, that your boss is going to bring to you about certain employees. You will know who has been possibly counseled or coached for different things. It is important that you maintain absolute confidentiality. So, I want you to sit back and I want you to relax. But I also want to go back to the first slide and say this is a basic class, okay? And Pryor Learning does offer a number of other classes, and I want to make you aware of that. We have a great class, The Essentials of HR Law, and if you're going to be doing HR, you need to know the legal side of things. And I've talked a lot about HR, and you're probably wondering, where's the party planning? I thought I planned the Christmas party. Well, you probably do. That is a fun side of HR. But the number one goal, in my opinion, of human resources is to protect the company. And you do that by educating yourself, by building resources, and by building a network of support. So I would encourage you on the break today, or possibly at the end of class, come up to me. Tell me which camp you're in, and let me see if I can pick some classes that can help educate you, that will help you out in your new role. Well, folks, that's it. Sit back, relax, and let's go. Welcome to Human Resources.